What is up, Impact Heroes? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Ornelas. Thank you for spending some time with us today because we know time's a valuable resource and we're going to make it worth your while. I appreciate each and every one of you, not just for listening, but for who you are. I know you're sparking change to make the world a better place every day, and I am humbled and grateful for your efforts. It takes all of us doing our part to spread positive change, and that's what this show is all about. Motivating you with stories of struggle, courage, and hope to empower you to make a difference in your life and the lives of others. Hey, hero community. We are looking to feature more amazing social impact heroes on our show, and I'll bet all you listeners out there know a few that deserve to be recognized. If you or anyone you know should be on our radar, then you absolutely have to nominate them to be an iSpark Change social impact hero. Just click the link in the show notes below to help us find out about more people that are doing great things. Hello, hello, hello. What is up? Welcome to episode 2 of the iSpark Change podcast. If you missed our first episode, all about me, you definitely want to go back and check that out so you know who I am. If not, I'm Rick Ornelas. I'm the founder of iSpark Change, and today we're going to talk about what you can expect from the iSpark Change podcast. In our last episode, I shared where the idea of iSpark Change came from, how it came from that spiritual time when I was writing 12 Hours of Heaven and I felt called to do more and to spread positive change and empower others to do the same. Well, I'd like to share a little bit about what we've been doing since then, where we plan to go with this podcast, and where iSpark Change is going in the future. Now, going back to when I first had the idea for the iSpark Change podcast, it came, as I said, it came during that time of iSpark Change. And when I originally had the time, I was thinking, I know I want to share with others on how to spark change, but I didn't really know what that was going to look like. And I thought about sparking change or be a spark for change, or it was always something about sparking change. And then I realized that in order to spark change, it has to come from you. It always starts with you. It always starts with the individual. And that's why I decided to go with iSpark Change. And that's why that's going to be the focus of this podcast. Is going to be on individuals that are spreading positive change in the world. And I think it's important to share that people are not always going to be super supportive as you would like. You have a dream, you have a goal, and you hope that people are on board and that they're supportive of you, but that's not always going to be the case. And when I first had the idea for iSpark Change and had the idea to build this community of incredible people, at first I kept it to myself because I had gone through that spiritual time and it was so private and personal. I was afraid to really share that with anyone. And then when I finished writing 12 Hours of Heaven and I said, look, then I felt all of a sudden I needed to share it with the world. I wanted to scream from the mountaintops. So at first, the first person I shared it with was my wife, Tanya. And we were laying in bed one morning, we'd gotten up and we were chatting as we do on a Saturday morning. And I shared the idea with her and she started crying and said she would support me. And that was really important. And then I proceeded to share it with my mom and my sisters on a Zoom, and they had the same kind of reaction. And it was such great support. And then I said, I'm going to share it with more of my family. And as I shared it with more of my family, with my kids and their significant others and everything, I realized that, and some friends, I realized that not everyone was as excited as I thought they should be. And I realized that I was going to have to put in a lot of work, and that I would be met with opposition at times on having such a bold idea of changing the world. And I discussed it with a mentor of mine named Danny Bader. And I told him how I was kind of struggling with that because, here I was so excited and people were thrilled for me. And then some people very close to me weren't all that excited. And he gave me some great advice. He told me that, I'm not doing it. I didn't write my book. I didn't create iSpark Change for the people that aren't going to be impacted by it, but I created it for all the hundreds and thousands and millions and people that would be impacted by my work, over the long haul, and that made it all worth it. And so it was then that I decided, I'm going to work on this till the day I die, and I'm going to do it all by myself if I have to. But I know it would be much better to have help. And that's when I started connecting with people from all over the world. And I connected with people that I met online, in different groups, and I connected with people on Zooms from everywhere. I mean, from Canada and Kenya and Switzerland and all over the US and South America. And one thing I found is that they all had one thing in common. They all wanted to make the world a better place. That we were all coming out of the pandemic, or, thought we were coming out of the pandemic. Here we are still in it. But that we all felt that we were in some tough times, and that we could make things better. And that if we just put some work into it, then we could make the world a better place than it already is. I mean, it's a beautiful place now, but, so much of that is hidden by the negativity and some of the atrocities of the world, and especially some of the things that were going on in that time. So in connecting with all these people, a recurring idea kept coming up that I need to amplify this message. I need to spread this more. So I thought of the different ways I could do it. And podcast was one of the original ways that I thought of doing it, but I didn't really know anything about podcasting, and I wanted to build a community. So we started with social media. And I brought on a couple interns that I found, thank God for Lady and David, because Lady helps me with social media, and David helps with business outreach. And with the help of my team and with a lot of work, we were able to grow our social media community. We've grown our Instagram significantly, and our Facebook, and we've been able to grow iSpark Change into a very supportive and thriving community of those who want to spread positive change in the world. And I've continued to have my calls with people from all over the place, and Zooms, and continue to meet people in different groups and masterminds and everything. And that's when I realized that the time was right for the iSpark Change podcast. And so what you're listening to now is just the start of an incredible show where we will interview those who spread positive change in our world. Our guests are going to be individuals that are doing acts of work that has a positive impact on humanity in some way, right? It could be from the work they're doing. It could be through the organization they've created or groups, but it will have the unifying characteristic of it is having a positive impact on others. And what our objective for the podcast is to tell their stories, because we want to share their stories of how they've got there and the challenges that they've gone through and the adversity that they're facing in doing this work, because that's what makes it so special. And we want to amplify their message to inspire and motivate you and help get the word out about their work. So you know about people that are doing awesome things that you may never find otherwise, unless you hear them on our podcast. And these are people that on our website, we've given them a name, and we call them social impact heroes. Now, these may seem like everyday people like you or I, but they make a difference in the world, whether it's through their actions or their impact on others. Now, the impact can be big or small, but in all instances, it's a beacon of light for everyone they encounter. And so we're going to highlight this work. Now, you may be wondering how we came up with Social Impact Hero. And we have an acronym for HERO. And what it means is that, a hero honors their purpose, because their purpose is what defines who they are, and it's how they show up in the world. And it's the foundation of why they do what they do. And they engage with others in their mission, because by sharing their mission with others, it allows them to understand what you're striving for, and people become united with them in a cause, and that's how it grows. And they ripple their message out, and they cause those ripples that spread positive change. And all of us, we're made up by our mess, which is our message. And our life stories are what connect us to each other in our beautiful flawsomeness. We're all flawed, but we're all awesome. And it's really our duty to share what we've learned along the way in our service to others. And those messages, those ripples, are what we will share with you in the community. And then lastly, they open their heart to the world, because they don't try to hide who they are, but they're authentic and they're vulnerable, and they allow others to connect on a deeper level to their heart and soul. And that deep connection withstands time, and that deep connection is what binds us all together. Because you, me, and everyone who's listening, we're all a product of our life experiences, no matter who we are or where we came from. And and our stories, our unique stories of how we've gotten to where we are today, are what bring us closer to one another, because we're all in this world together. We all need to do our part. And no matter how tiny it may seem, we all make a difference in this world. So we're going to collect and share stories of those who spark change. They're going to inspire you, and hopefully they're going to motivate you to spark some change of your own, because together we want to set an example for future generations to take that individual responsibility, the I in the sparking of change, and to make the world a better place. And the cool thing about the I Spark Change podcast is that it's only the beginning. As we grow, we're going to share more of our gifts and the gifts of others with the world. And some of the things we're working on that you'll learn about in subsequent episodes. Right now with some colleagues working on a book that'll be a guide on how to connect with others from different groups, whether they be different religious affiliations cooperating together, or people from individual communities like the LGBTQ, or various cultures or ethnicities, or it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you all have that common goal of making the world a better place. And we're going to put all this into a documentary that, we have a goal you'll be viewing that on Netflix sometime down the road, but it'll show what that process is like. And then finally, the big one is that our goal at I Spark Change is within the next 5 years to connect and impact 1 billion people. Yes, I said billion with a B, because we feel that that's what it takes to have a critical mass to make a difference on our planet, and to improve the lives of so many others out there. So we can't get there on our own. We need your help to start spreading positive change in this world every day. We need you to cause those ripple effects that continue to spread far beyond you will ever realize. So we look forward to you being a part of the I Spark Change podcast. As I said, in episodes, we know you'll be inspired by all the beautiful people that we have on this show. And for more inspiration, don't forget to join our community at isparkchange.com. Remember, just the letter I starts with I, sparkchange.com. You can follow us on all social media platforms. Our Instagram is growing super rapidly, and it's I_spark_change. We have a Facebook group. You can find us anywhere at I Spark Change, but on all of those platforms, you share inspirational, motivational, empowering content to support you. And we're going to do the same on this podcast. So we look forward to our next episode. We thank you for listening. Now go out there and spark some change, and God bless you. Remember, Impact Heroes, every positive action can be a spark moment that has a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the initial act. So go out there and spark change. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, then please smash that 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. We value your comments, and we want to hear from you in the community. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on the I Spark Change podcast.